Angela Odom, and it is time for A Better You TV. This is episode 75. Today, I am going to share with you 20 lessons I want to teach my 15-year-old son. Isn't that something? That's what we'll talk about today, 20 lessons to teach your 15-year-old boy in the midst of the coronavirus, this whole, protesting against police brutality after that horrific killing of Mr. George Floyd in Minneapolis. In the midst of all of that, what are the things that we should be teaching our kids, leading within our homes? So that's what we're doing today, is we are talking through, what lessons we need to teach our kids, how we need to lead in the home. There's so much going on out here, social media is abuzz about every small things, and still we have to lead in our homes. We have to lead up close and personal with the people who count on us every single day. Hey, Mo. And so that's what we'll do today. And I'm using this Facebook Live function, and I'm going to figure this thing out, because I was thinking it had some sort of way I could share my screen, but I don't see that. So and maybe I'll have to learn how to do that the next time. So for now, what we want to do is go ahead and dive in, right? So today is Tuesday. Every Tuesday at noon, we have the opportunity to learn from one another, to discuss a different topic. And before I even jump into that, I want you to get yourself ready. Get some notes. Be prepared to comment and share. Go ahead and start a watch party right this minute. This is good stuff. This is good stuff, really good stuff. And so, just to start, right? This is Eastern Standard Time. That's what we are on, right? Eastern Standard Time at noon. And I'm Angela Odom. I am the CEO and lead strategist of the Better You Project, focused on teaching women, engaging with women on how to lead themselves, others, and how to lead projects, right? We're just going to level up. That's what we're doing. In the midst of everything else that's going on, we're going to focus on building our skills so that we're able to serve others from the overflow, right? Serve others from the overflow. That's what we're doing. So adulting. I've heard this term over the past few years, and I never even thought, gave much thought to it until I was sitting across the table from my son just a few days before he turned 15. And I started looking at him, and I was like, wow, he got like little hairs up here on this above his lip. His voice is getting a little deeper, and he's so confident. He's a good-looking fellow too, right? And that's a little biased, and then it's true. And he talked. Hey, Carrie. And he talked, and I loved listening to him convey his thoughts. And then I was like, oh my God, I got like panicky, right? Because in the midst of all of this, I was like a little unsure of whether or not I'm preparing him to lead himself in the world. So the next 36 months, I came up with things that I want to teach him over the next 36 months, because then he'll be 18 and graduated from high school. He'll be on to the next new adventure, and there'll be something else that is consuming the news media, right? We won't be talking about this particular topic, this pandemic, prayerfully. We won't be talking about police brutality, prayerfully. And still, he will continue to progress, as will your employees, as will your kids, as will your loved ones, your frenemies, right? Oh, you love the shirt? That's right. Look at you noticing my shirt, Better You Leadership. That's right. And so I want to just focus on, what those lessons are. And then I'm looking for your comment. I think they're like over here, right? looking for your comments, because, you are a woman of great experience. And, I want to hear what you have to say also. So there are some of the skills that I lack. Like me personally, I got a big old deficit of skills. It's not because, I'm some horrible person or my parents didn't do the right thing. It's simply they did the best they could, right? And I've been taught some things that some I didn't want to learn. So I came up with 20 lessons I intend to teach my son or expose him to over the next 3 years. Again, he just turned 15 last week, right? And so my hope is that he's able to use these skills as a basis for how he navigates his life. And so I'm sharing them with you. I'm sharing these skills with you because you can actually use them in your business life, in your family life. You can use them in other spaces, right? Lesson number 1 is learn what qualifies as TMI, too much information. That's the first thing, right? Like this whole oversharing. Sometimes I have to say to my son out loud, right? I have to say to him out loud, hey, that's nothing that you need to talk to anybody else about. And he's like, well, why not? I want to tell. Stop. And then I have to ask the question, so what do you gain from sharing this? And he'll stop and he's like, oh, Mom. I'm like, hey, keep it under wraps, buddy. It's okay. And so we have this, we, as in me too, right? We have to understand that most folks are not invested in our wants and our needs because they're focusing on their own lives, right? And so I told him, I said, you never ever talk to people about, people that you have a casual interaction with about your money or your relationships. That's not like you just sharing with people. Like I just, like for his birthday, he got cash in his Cash App thing, right? Say that's nothing you need to tell anybody else about, right? Like the amount or who gave it to you. What's it to them? What value does that provide to them? So stop. Right? Isn't that something? So never discuss your money or your relationships with others. And so too much information, TMI. That's number 1. Number 2, driving and car maintenance. I mean, he's 15, so we just had our first driving lesson, right? First driving lesson, and it went fine. We did not leave our driveway. It was the first driving lesson, just getting familiar with everything. And so what I know for sure is no matter how good of a driver you are, you're not safe unless you actually understand how to take care of your vehicle, keep the vehicle in good condition. So that's the second one, driving and car maintenance. And I have my sheet right here. That's why I'm looking down, right? Number 3 is firearm safety. I'm a gun owner, right? My son is a gamer. Like he plays all these different types of video games. I mean, he'll stay up all night if I let him, playing video games with people all over the world. He can tell you anything about long guns, pistols, all of that on the games. But in real life, he has absolutely zero experience with weapons, right? Zero. And, I have a concealed carry permit. So I need him to understand how to be safe, especially if he's somewhere in an environment where somebody says, hey, take a look at this. And it's a loaded weapon or something, I need him to understand that. So that's firearm safety, right? Lesson number 4 is I want him to know the difference between religious doctrine, dogma, and traditions and having a personal relationship with God. Like that's 2 separate things. Religious traditions and dogma and doctrine. That's one thing. And then having your own personal relationship with God, right? And so I've taught him what I believe, but I need him to know what he believes and why he believes it. Not because of tradition, not because of doctrine, and not because of dogma, but what do you believe and why? And then how do you actually establish that relationship for yourself, right? Consistently, because for me, it is me having a personal relationship, a spiritual understanding, a relationship, right? How to grow, has helped me over the years, and I want that same thing for him. Make sense? So that's number 4. And then number 5 is take care of your business, right? Take care of your business. We're in a civil society, and we have shared responsibility, to take care of our individual well-being, our own personal property. So we must understand how to get things done. It's as simple as, cutting the grass in your yard, or cleaning up around your own house, or, getting the plumber to come out. How do you take care of business? So teaching him that, right? And then lesson number 6 is safe sex, SEX. He's 15, and girls are buzzing around. He's buzzing around. His buddies are talking about it. I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. So this is a fact of life. Sex is a fact of life. And so I teach him that women are his equal in every sense. I urge him to choose carefully. So every time he has sex, that's what I tell him, every time you have sex, he will risk disease, pregnancy, and an allegation of rape. Every time he has sex, he risks those 3, right? So I keep telling him that no means no every single time. Whether she uses a verbal or nonverbal communication, no means no. Stop right there, right? So I share stories to bring home the fact that alcohol and sex simply don't mix, because that's when it seems that the likelihood of disease, pregnancy, or potential legal problems just increase. And so my son's 15. Your folks might be much older and already gone through this, but think about this in a workspace. Think about this in a workspace and mixing alcohol and sex with employees. That's some issues right there, right? Or just a language, or just a culture, or using your workplace as a dating space. So think about what that looks like for you as a leader, right? In your home and in your place of employment. Number 7 is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is defined as the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. Well, the first thing is, I'm not mastered this myself, to be able to be aware of, control, and express my emotions. Like I get mad, like real, just angry, and then come all the way down, right? So, and I tell him all the time, you need to watch what happens when people don't get their way. And so emotional intelligence is something that I want him to learn and be aware of, and how it's okay to express yourself passionately. Well, then what happens? When you don't get your way, or when you get your way, that kind of thing. So that's number 7. So what do you all think about the first 7? Any of them jump out at you? Take care of your business, safe sex, emotional intelligence, or, learn what qualifies as too much information, driving and car maintenance, firearm safety, and knowing the difference between religious doctrine, dogma, and a tradition as it relates to, or the difference of having a personal relationship with God. 2 separate things. What do you think about those 7 first? Because we're going on. If I don't see any comments right now, okay? I'll assume you're buckled in and ready for the next 7. So number 8 is family matters most. I think this is kind of self-explanatory. At the end of everything, family. Now, how you define family, that's for you to define, right? And families look different all over the world. You could have mom and dad. You could have mom and stepdad. You could have mom. You could have just dad. You could have uncle. You could have grandma. You could have mom, dad. It's just so much. You just family. Or you just be with friends that are treating you like family, right? So family matters most. At the end of the day, at the end of your life, my life anyway, I want to be with family. So that's what I'm teaching him. And then number 9 is routine home maintenance. So the last 3 years, we replaced our hot water heater, a washing machine, all of the electrical outlets, the gutters. We had the house outside. We had the house painted, and then a whole list of other repairs. And so I don't know what his next adventure will actually be. Whether he's going to be on a campus in dorms, or he's going to share an apartment with some friends, or what that's going to look like. He's going to be on somebody's couch. I don't know. But he'll know the basic. He needs to know like the basic in home repairs. So we're going to start with just changing the light bulbs, changing the filters in the house, and changing the batteries and the smoke detectors. We're going to start there, right? And then we'll just keep going on and on, increasing it because he has to have that knowledge. Can't be somebody in the house and like, okay, I hear that beeping. What is that beeping? It's going to change the battery in the smoke detector, right? And then number 10 is money management basics. Money management basics. So my son understands the concept of exchanging goods and services for money, or for something of value. He understands that. He knows how to barter and all that. But as far as personal finance, we got to work on that. So I opened him a youth bank account, and I told him that it has to have a baseline of $50 in it all the time. Like when I go on my phone and check the balance, if it's ever below $50, then I'm going to go shut the account down. You know why? Because then he incur fees, and every fee is $35. And I'd be darned if I'm going to pay all that, right? So that's the whole point, is to teach him right now what that looks like. And then number 11 is resilience. Resilience is defined as the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. It's like a toughness, right? So if he learns this now, he learns that perfection is overrated now, and then, you fall down and you get back up, and you fall down and you get back up, you're disappointed, you don't always get what you want. If he learns this now, oh my God, then he'll probably be fine, right? If you don't learn it now, then oh my God, it's going to be a tough road to hoe, right? It's going to be a tough road. So that's number 11. So again, I'm Angela Odom, and what we're doing is I'm focusing on sharing with you the 20 lessons I intend to teach my 15-year-old over the next 36 months. Because he'll be 18, and this whole adulting, these life skills, these life hacks. We look around, and we're just looking like, oh my God, this person hadn't been taught a thing. We know that. You know that. I know I've done it. I'm like, what in the world is that? Didn't anybody teach you how to do that? Well, we as parents, we as leaders, we as employers have to teach, mentor, and coach. So let's start at home. So resilience, that's number 11. Number 12 is self-defense techniques, right? Self-defense techniques. I took a self-defense class a couple years ago, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, like I got flipped over. That was pretty cool. It was exciting, right? And then, so I need him to understand how to defend himself. So we're going to focus on what that looks like. Regardless of strength, size, or previous training, I think it's good to know how to, have a few self-defense techniques. So number 13 is relationship boundaries. Setting boundaries in a relationship is critical to safety and self-esteem. So I'm going to start with emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, and then digital boundaries, because I keep talking to him about not sending any, parts of his body parts to anybody or receiving them. If he receives some, then, delete it right away, right? Digital boundaries. Digital boundaries is huge in this area for adults and for teens and for kids. Everybody walking around with their own personal, device. So we have to know boundaries. So relationship boundaries. So number 14 is crucial conversations. And I've just added this book, Crucial Conversations. It's by 3 authors, Joseph Brenny, Al Switchler and then Ron McMillan. I added the book to my reading list, Angela O's reading list. If you're on Instagram, you go find Angela O reading list, and I have the 10 books plus a bonus in my reading list. So I added this, and I just want to go over the concepts with my son. But sometimes, like a difficult conversation, how do you approach someone who is mean, nasty, or not being who you think they should be, right? You might have to talk to your boss about not showing up the way the boss should, or talk to your employee about not showing up the way they should, or somebody that comes in and they're like some kind of overpowering smell. Could be like too much perfume. It could be a myriad of things. Or somebody who is has a filthy mouth. Every time you talk to them, they're dropping an F-bomb. You're like, no. Crucial conversations. I want to teach him how to do that, right? And then I have to learn myself. I'm still learning that. I want to teach him about the 15 is calendar management. So this whole time management, that's an elusive concept. So I'm considering offering him a menu of tools, techniques, and tips. And he can discover how to prioritize for himself, what works for him. What works for me is not going to work for him, right? So calendar management, because he's a rise and tenth grader with so many other priorities. So I've been relegated to driving him to events. But as far as I've been keeping up with his calendar. So I'm done. And then lesson number 16 is mindset. I'm fascinated by Dr. Carol Dweck's, and that's D-W-E-C-K, Dweck's growth mindset versus fixed mindset research. So I need to take a deep dive into that and make sure that those concepts that I'm actually teaching my son, the whole concept is someone with a fixed mindset believes that they've learned all they can about a particular subject or situation. Whereas someone with a growth mindset, when something fails or doesn't work, or they didn't get it this one time, they go back and they try and figure it out. So growth mindset versus fixed mindset. You see people shut down, because a few times he shut down. I'm like, whoa, hold up. Come back, buddy. Came back. You can do this. It didn't work that time. It's okay. Now try it another way. And so growth mindset. And for the most part, he's probably about 60-40 on this whole thing. Growth mindset. Some things, it is what it is. So I'm trying to figure that out for myself also. So that's number 16. And then number 17 is skill set. So I'm going to help him recognize and become more aware of the range of skills and abilities he possesses right now. And then I'll help him, as he would allow me to, because he's in a stage right now. I know, Mom. So your employees are most likely in that same stage, right? I know. I got this. So you want to explore, help them to explore a range of skills and abilities as it relates to, the mission and their growth and development, right? And so that is 17. Number 18 is network. That's what 17 is. So in social science, a group of interdependent actors and the relationships between them is what we call network. And it could be people, families, organizations, corporations, states, or a mixture of individuals and groups. Especially when we, look at the context of social media, look at your network. So I want him to be fully aware of the people within his network and to understand that he can always expand or decrease his network. It's not fixed, right? Like this circle of people that he's with right now, he can expand that, or he can decrease. He can kick some out of that circle. It's okay. Either way, it's okay. And then number 19 is clean up what you mess up. I've often said to him, when you want people to want you to come back to a place, so you if we show up at somebody's house, before this pandemic, we show up at somebody's house and we, go in and spill something, well, immediately get up and clean up yourself. Don't wait for them to tell you, oh, you messed that up. Or if you are there, then you jump in and help. So you just clean up what you mess up. So I think that's simply stated and understood. I'm just going to reinforce that. And then number 10 is 10 basic meals. Now, I was never taught to cook, nor was I even interested in learning to cook, right? But then over the years, I've become decent, right? Cooking more at home. My son actually makes the best eggs I've ever tasted. He knows how to season them just fine. And so I think it's prudent to learn at least 10 good meals, some breakfast stuff, some lunch stuff, some dinner stuff, bacon, whatever it is. So we're going to work through that. Grilling, all of that, at least 10 meals before this fellow leaves the house, the next 3 years, so that he can fend for himself, right? And so those are my 20, and I know there's so many other things that I need to teach him or expose him to. Bottom line is he's a good kid. He's healthy, happy, laughs out loud, never had a cavity, right? Never had a cavity, and I got a mouth full of all kinds of stuff in my mouth. So I want to just share that with you, and you see how you can, use that. So any comments on those 20 or anything else you think I should add? And, make sure you put them in the comments below. So I'm Angela Odom, a leadership coach and author. And so I'm just pretty excited to be in a space where I can learn from you, and then I can share some things with you. And for us right now, as we are approaching just another month is coming up, like June is really moving fast, right? So we're looking forward to the next round of our virtual Power Hour, POWERHOUR, and we'll start that on July 5th. We'll start that on Sunday, July 5th. And we'll go through Friday. And it's 6 a.m. Eastern Time, right, for 1 powerful hour for 6 consecutive days. 6 a.m., 6 consecutive days for 1 powerful hour where we get things done, right? We can finally get things done in that space. So go to angelaodom.com/power hour, POWERHOUR, all together. With that said, you all have a fabulous day, and thank you so much for the feedback on the 20 lessons that I intend to teach my 15-year-old son over the next 3 years. 36 months is going to go by, lickety split, right? It's going to go by fast as these 15 years pass. Okay, you all have a great day. I'm Angela Odom, and as always, I'm rooting for you. Take care, and yes, I know you like my shirt. Let me know if you want one. All right, take care.